You see, which is probably one of my greatest concerns with the movie, is that there's a lot of things that are just led up to us filling in the blanks, which is my problem back in the day with Batman v Superman. Is there's a lot of things that happened and they don't explain it, but you kind of actually have to rationalize your way through it. Like they'll just imply something, and then you kind of connect the dots together, which I don't like. I prefer when they just show things, because, you say that, right, and it's like, oh, it's gonna be, we're gonna take care of that elsewhere. Talk about Vision. Oh, that's gonna happen in the show elsewhere. Talk about, like, well, what about Falcon and Bucky? What about Bucky? Oh, that's gonna be in the show elsewhere. What happened to Loki? Oh, that's gonna be in the show elsewhere. And I find that for a movie that was supposed to be the end of everything,
The wrap up.
Yeah.
exactly.
Things are not wrapped up.
Yeah, they should at least gave everything a nice, satisfying conclusion, and then build from that. But you can tell, which was my problem with Age of Ultron, is they did a lot of setting up. Remember, like, Thor had a vision. Why is it a vision? I have to go back to Asgard. Why you have to go back to Asgard? Goodbye.
Find out in 2017.
Exactly. I don't like when they have promotions for movies. Like, this is supposed to be the end of, like, the end all of movies, right?
But technically, it's not the end of the Infinity Saga. So then I would ask you, would you be okay, assuming that I'm gonna probably trigger you right now, assuming that Far From Home is good, and they go back onto those things that you're talking about, would you be okay with the way
In Far From Home?
Yeah, like, if the end credits show like Vision being rebuilt by Shuri, and Loki's like walking down the street in New York.
I'd be okay. I'd be okay with it. I sure would have a lot more questions, but like a small scene of like Shuri slightly rebuilding Vision would have been nice in 2 seconds. I'd be happy with it. Like, excuse me, I'm going to see Far From Home at some point. I'm not going opening night because of what happened in Infinity War. Because the fact that, remember what I didn't like about Homecoming? Like, I like Homecoming. It's a great movie, but I don't like how Spider-Man's like super heavy reliant on Iron Man because it contradicts who he is as a character. Like, if you look at Spider-Man, the reason he was important back in the day is because he was the first teenage superhero that wasn't a sidekick,
which led to the creation of Nightwing.
Yeah, and pretty much like if you look at MCU, he kind of is like, he does have his homemade suit, and people argue like, well, it's more realistic. I'm like, I'm not care about realism. I just want this comic book in a movie. And Peter Parker in 616 was able to make his own suit, no problem. He was able to stitch together. But the fact of the matter is that now that Tony died, it's still gonna have it's pretty much just why Peter's taking, quote unquote, a little break in Far From Home because of that. And I don't like that because it gives another Iron Man influence in movies. I just want him to be him. And then rumors of like, I think John Watts, the director of Far From Home, he said, like, you see Tony Stark is like Peter's dad per se, father figure, and then you're gonna have Mysterio was gonna be like his cooler uncle figure. I'm like, I don't want that. Why does this like no? I just want Spider-Man being Spider-Man for the hell of being Spider-Man, not depending on that. I know they're doing their own thing. It's okay to like it, but for me, I just want the comic book on screen. Simple enough. Not to being like, movie probably be great, undeniably so, but it's not the Spider-Man I grew up with.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but Tom Holland though, I do love him. He's great. I really liked his the way he was acting in Endgame.
Oh yeah.
Personality wise, I really did. It's just everything that surrounds him is like, I don't like it.
Like how they built Spider-Man, but in terms of him playing as Spider-Man, is what you're good with him is that the stuff they have around him.
Yeah, he's a character that like I would like to see with multiple movies that keep it coming. I just want him to just more or less be like 616.
So I'm just gonna call it as it is, and then you can go off. Black Widow is the new Agent Coulson.
Oh dear, Black Widow. Okay, so as I talked about Black Widow before, my favorite time she appeared in the movie was Winter Soldier. She was perfect. That was her environment, and her character development was, well, it was there, but she just fit in perfectly. I liked, my least favorite interpretation is first Avengers, because Josh Whedon does not care about female characters. Like, there was just too many shots of her in, they're pretty much sexualizing her, which I really didn't like. I'm like, what?
But people often say he's a very good, when he's good at managing like female characters, like for instance like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy is probably the exception. I haven't watched it, but if you look at Justice League, a lot of people, that want the Snyder cut, they point the finger at Wonder Woman and say that she was handled very differently in Justice League compared to how she was in Wonder Woman. Like, it's clear, like, people believe it's because of Josh Whedon, and then looking at Avengers 1, it was that. And on top of that, Black Widow, I found her purpose in Avengers 1 was very minimal. Like, she just had her little pistols. Which pistols...
But she also deduced, like, what Loki was going to do on S.H.I.E.L.D. had, like, carrier.
She did. I'm not saying she was completely wasted, for sure. Like, she did deduce that, which was good. But in the grand scheme of things, like, when... Like, had she just stuck to that type of stuff, I would have been okay. But, you know, being on the front lines, fighting against Chitauri with just 2 little pistols, I'm like, Then people would say, like, well, but Bucky, he has guns. I'm like, yeah, he has an assault rifle. For those of you who play...
arm.
Yeah, he has a metal arm and an assault rifle. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm going to war, I'm not going with 2 little 9mm.
And he's a full-on super soldier.
Exactly. I'm gonna take the assault rifle and maybe a robotic arm if I can. And I'm feeling we didn't recognize this, and then when it was time to close the portal in Avengers 1, he's like, man, who can I get to close the portal? Black Widow. That's the character. So, now, going back to Infinity War, it started out, Endgame. I really liked it. I was like, okay, cool. The Black Widow, you know, she's managing stuff. She's really stuck in what she needs to do and all that. Really loved it. But then as it went on, like when they go to Vormir, it's like it's time to sacrifice. I'm like, well, they're not gonna kill Black Widow. They're not gonna do that. And they're like, yeah, well, like literally the way it was portrayed was like, yeah, she has nothing going for her. Like, oh, well, she's gonna die. I'm like, how did it happen to any? It's not even the fact that she's a female character. It's the fact that she has so much baggage as a character, like the way she's been handled, that on top of that, it just cements her as probably the weakest Avenger. Like the most, unfortunately, the most useless Avenger. Like, I really love Black Widow. I love Black Widow. Chris Samney and Mark Waid did a run on Black Widow recently.
I read that.
Fantastic. Loved it. But I'm like, that's why I feel so strongly about it. And the fact that they just threw her off just for like the same way they treated Gamora, just to die. And like they did have a little memorial for her, which was overshadowed by Iron Man's funeral at the end. Like, you know, everyone's like, Iron Man, what a guy. Like, it's true. And it has repercussions. What repercussions does Black Widow have?
True. Yeah, like, I did feel like there wasn't paid enough service at the end. Like, I did, like, as much as I love her as a character, I did feel like it was just like, you know, they're talking about, man, Tony's dead. Oh, yeah, and Black Widow's dead too. And it's like,
that really bothered me. And the only thing they kind of justified the plot was the fact that, well, they got the Soul Stone because of it. Yeah. Like, how... It wouldn't have cost anything for, like, I don't know, show Tony's tombstone, and right next to it you have Natasha's tombstone.
Yes.
Yeah, just to show that, like, you know, she was actually important. Because I just feel like she just wasn't.
Especially as she's supposed to be getting, like, her own, like, movie now, which is kind of like a prequel to, like, obviously before, like, Avengers, and I'm just like...
If the Russo brothers directed, I won't be watching it.